That's a really good question there. A couple things. First is I really enjoy talking to people. I take my journey in life as an opportunity to really understand what I'm going through as a human being and also what other people are going through as a human being. I analyze my experience on a day-to-day basis, and I realize all of us are going through the same thing, no matter what it looks like, no matter what, it sounds like to other people. You're still human. You have the same emotions. You go through the same thing. So that's like number one. Number two, I found that people are willing to tell me their stories because a lot of times they feel as if they don't have other people to talk to. Especially people who actually achieve greatness in a lot of things. You kind of feel, what is the word, ostracized, where being very high level, and whether it's some sort of schooling, sports, whatever it is, that it's kind of hard to relate to other people who are within your space, or even like look up to you or fans of you or whatever it is. So I always wanted to give those people a space to actually be normal. I don't know if that makes sense, because outside of what they do, it's kind of like they have to not pretend to be someone, but it's kind of like you have an image to uphold. And no one wants to see the vulnerable side of other. Well, it's hard to, it's hard to be exactly. Thank you. You can't be what's the name, Clark Kent and Superman at the same time, right? So it's like giving people a space to be the Clark Kent, to show that side of them that people don't know or people don't realize. And number two, I was very self-conscious. With my teeth, when I was a child, I didn't smile much. I never smiled in any of my pictures. I've learned to embrace it. I've learned to embrace it because I realize how powerful a smile really is. And it doesn't matter if it's a crooked smile or if it's a straight smile. Being able to show your true characters to someone it does something to the energy between you two when you're conversating, and you can't fake that, And I've always wanted to be more confident. And the way I talk, the way I speak, the way I think, and this is the best way to practice it. But let's get going, man. You could adjust your mic.
Mic check
to your level.
Everything good. I like lean back a lot, so make sure it's
No, you good. Get comfortable, my brother. Get comfortable. When you're speaking, if you could kind of direct the mic a little bit, like closer to you.
There are a lot.
Good. You might want to switch chairs. Yeah.
I lean back a lot.
You're also a big fella.
Even like the school chairs, bro, I was always leaning back.
Oh yeah, me
I
too.
could never just
I
sit
can't
still,
sit normal.
Man. All right.
There's got him.
Right.
Maybe there isn't, actually. You just gotta work on your posture, my brother.
Be a man, bro. Come on, grow up a little bit.
It's like mom said, sit properly.
Right, yeah,
sit properly.
That's it.
All right, X. I wanted to have you on, man, because I heard about you when I was in high school. Actually, you played against some of my friends during football. I think you played against Notre Dame, West Haven.
Smoked us on the playoffs.
Yeah, but anyway, I heard you were just an amazing athlete. Like I've always heard, Xavier Bass, this guy's playing football. He's a crazy athlete, and I remember, I think I saw your content first.
Yeah.
I remember seeing your content, and then like a week later, and this was during like my second or third month of training ever.
Yeah.
And then a week later, we had our big sparring at Iron Lion.
Word.
And then you came in, and you were just moving. It just looks abnormal, like the way you were moving, man. And I was just in awe of just your skills in general. And I remember we ended up sparring, and I was like, oh my God, this guy's pissing me up. But whatever he knows, I want to learn. And ever since then, We became friends, and I learned a little bit about your history. So I wanted to have you on just to pretty much just get your life story and how you became a martial artist, content creator, and just in overall like your process as a human being, man.
Yeah. Well, number one, I appreciate you having me on, bro. I love what you're doing. Our conversation off camera just now is just like what we have to present as fighters, as people who accomplish things that not everybody gets to do. You know what I mean? I was watching a video the other day of just like, bro, like you got to be a little off to go out and sign up to be a boxer, to be a fighter. You know what I mean? Like there's nobody forcing you to do this. You just go and get punched in the face to say that you want to get better, to say that you want to be more patient, more calm. And until you're in that space, you don't really get what that means. But ultimately, bro, like my mom, she did a really good job of just teaching me, like, there's something next to do. You know what I mean? After she taught me love, which is like always like, my mom's like, that's the first thing I tell people. Like, my mom taught me love first. You know what I mean? And after that, it was really just like, as a man, as a human being that wants to give something back to this world, like there's always something to do next, right? So with fighting, or football or wrestling or track, any sport that I played, it wasn't really like the championship that I was looking at. It was more just like the next practice. You know what I mean? I think there was one time in high school where like I needed a break. You know what I mean? Because it was wrestling, it was track, it was football. Probably mixing.
Bring us back. Which sport did you start with first?
Football.
Football. At what age?
Age of 7.
It's 7 to all the way up to
college.
College. Okay.
Yeah, so it was football. Adolescent years, it was like football and baseball, right? Those were like the two sports. And then once I got to like high school, then it was like, okay, like now we got a little bit more structure to this. But like I said, it was just like next practice, and it was like that one. And for high school, there's no real break, right? There's like football season, wrestling season. They're all like
it's all the same thing.
Week, right?
A week apart, maybe.
And I just like broke down, bro. Like my stepfather was my wrestling coach and my football coach. So we were on our way home, or we had just got home. He was like, all right, like, that's the season. Like, tomorrow we're gonna get in there and, get going for wrestling. And it was just like, tears started just coming down my eye, bro. I'm just like, bro, I'm tired. Like, he's like, bro, like, don't trip. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Take this week, right? And I felt good at first. It was like, all right, like, that overwhelming feeling is gone. We get a rest, right? And then maybe like day 2 or 3, it was just like, bro, I feel lazy, And I think this is something that kind of, I'm sure you can attest to. Like, it's hard taking a break, as a black man, as a fighter, as someone that wants more for themselves and has seen people achieve great things. Like, no one really tells you how to rest.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and I kind of like carried that all the way through. I forgot the question.
No. We're just going through the storyline.
Yeah.
So right now you are in high school.
Yep.
That's when you picked up wrestling, right? You had no
Yes.
prior experience. So that's sophomore year. And
Freshman year.
I meant to say. And you wrestled all throughout high school.
All throughout.
All right. And when did No, because you're doing football and wrestling both, right? So when did boxing come into play?
Yeah, so with wrestling, MMA made the most sense. So I got into mixed martial arts after college. I had just graduated. I was working as a personal trainer over at Southside Wrestling. Mm-hmm. And then Aaron actually came through, him and Charlie, they came through and they taught like a free class, right, for all the coaches. So with wrestling, it was just like, all right, bro, MMA, duh, you know what I mean? Like, you can do the takedowns, like you can learn striking, but takedowns is just like the focus. Not everybody can wrestle, right? So even if you can't strike, take it to the ground, you'll be good.
And with your background, you have wrestling and football, which kind of is a mix of pretty much MMA, all together. The aggression and the timing and the movements you're doing is all basically the same.
I'm sure you have like football players in your gym, people that came from football. I think the hardest thing with football players and going into mixed martial arts is they're too aggressive.
Control.
That control, right? Bro, my only punch in my first 3 years was overhands. I didn't have a jab, you know what I mean? It was straight overhands and it would connect.
Yeah.
So it was so hard to like get to the point where it was like, bro, like chill out a little bit. Not every fight has to be a 30-seconder, you know what I mean? Go out, use a jab, like find that patience. And that was like my struggle for the first like 2-3 years.
And that was all MMA at the time?
All MMA.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't really get into boxing strictly until like the last like 3 years. So
now, like watching you strike and watching you box is like, you know, I don't know what level you consider yourself, but as someone who's just starting the game, I could like I look up to your striking, your ability to break down the techniques. And people who don't know, I'll put his Instagram up. You guys watch the way he breaks down like his content for fighting is amazing for anybody who's looking to get into it, because you explain it very like a fifth grader. You explain it for a fifth grader the way you break it down, and every single day I look forward to seeing your content on my page, because a lot of times it will be things that I'm actually going through or like learning, and I'm like, oh, that's what he meant. Like there was one piece of your content that I really love. It was like how to use your lead hand and to throw your hook, and like learning to measure the distance. And I was literally struggling with that like throughout that week. And your video was like, okay, I went to the bag and I practiced it, and it got better. So what throughout your martial arts training for MMA, like at what point did you realize like, okay, the boxing, I want to get crisp at the boxing? Because you said you didn't have a jab, you only had an overhand.
Absolutely nothing, bro. But sides and overhand. To that point, like for a fifth grader, right? I think people kind of look at a page like mine or a pro athlete, fighter, or whatever the case is, and be like, what he's doing is outlandish, right? It's otherworldly. How do you get to that point? I think I do my best with trying not to complicate the terminology that I'm using, because it's the basics, right? When I talk about a jab, when I talk about your form as a boxer, it's the same thing that you would learn in like a day one of a boxing gym. Where's your base? You know what I mean? Where are your feet standing? Where's your hips? Where's your starting point, right? Not so much like, okay, the double up on a hook or like, you know, the return, this and the third. It's like from A to B. Right, like the shortest distance between you being where you are and you trying to learn a new technique. So when I look at my content, or I'm looking at my own training, it's really just like, don't overcomplicate it. And I think that's how I really got to the point of like not just throwing overhands. It was just like, bro, you gotta breathe. You know what I mean? Like you gotta just take a second and feel while you're off balance to be able to like, you know, fix it. What was the question?
No, just when did you realize, like throughout MMA, that you wanted to focus on the boxing like purely? That was what I wanted to get to.
When I realized, so my first fight, right, ended with, I think it was the first round, within like a minute. I dropped a guy twice, 2 overhands, right? I think I knew from then, because everybody was like, you know, praising me, you know what I'm saying? But I've always, after football, I was big on just watching the game. I already knew, like, my whole intention of fighting was to coach. I wanted to be a better coach, and I didn't want to be someone that was watching from the sidelines being like, okay, like, this looks like this works. Not to say that there isn't great coaches that have just watched, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, you look at Terrence Crawford's coach, I think he was like 5 and like 50, you know what I mean? Like, excuse me if I'm wrong, but like, he didn't have a winning record. Okay. You know what I mean? There's a lot of coaches out there that can adapt the game just from a visual aspect. I felt like because I was late to the game, but I was still young enough to get into it, that it would just be better for me to kind of like dive in. Yeah. So I got into the boxing round when I realized if I run into another me, someone that is just as good at throwing overhands, it's gonna be a 50-50. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing really separating me. Right? Yeah, I was big, I was strong. I think I won a lot of my matches at the face-offs, right? Because wrestling is when you kind of learn that intimidation factor, the energy game. Yeah, man.
For people who don't understand, there's an energy game being played way before you even step into the ring, and only us fighters can understand what that is, and it's like so cool. I love watching like Face Off because I can feel it. I can feel it, bro. Like,
I think it's so funny when people try to because what we're trying to give off, right, is like that superhuman energy, right? Like there's nothing that phases me. There's nothing that like I could run through a wall right now, right? I don't know about you, bro. Every single face-off, every single second before the bell, bro, there's butterflies, bro. Like, my stomach is almost turning. Like, excuse me, like I got to shit before every spar, before every match. Like, it's such a human aspect.
And you still feel that till this day?
To this day. To this day, man. I just got back from Oklahoma, Golden Gloves. Placed third out there, but it was like I told my coach all week, I'm like, yo, I'm going out there and fighting the Avengers. You know what I'm saying? I
That's what it feels like.
Doom, but like I'm going out there and fighting the Avengers. You feel me? So the nerves were always, well, I think will always be there. I think it's just what you do after that bell goes off that plays a part into what you're doing inside and outside of the ring, right? So that overhand aspect that we just talked about, that feeling of being in danger, of someone across from me trying to take me out, is still there, right? But I know now if I just throw a jab, right, I hit him a couple times, watch his head knock back, he's not even going to be throwing as strong. You know what I mean? So now that brings the nerves down. If I'm going in there and breathing and moving around a little bit, he can't keep his feet up with mine, the nerves are coming down a little bit. You just, there's so many things that, again, from the outside looking in, is like, bro, I don't know how this is going on. I don't know how these two are performing at this highest level. It's the basics, like you just said. It's so simple,
Simplicity
bro.
is so hard.
Yeah.
And I got to learn soccer at a really high level. Like if I wanted to pursue like being professional, I actually could have.
Dope.
But I didn't. But the same level of discipline that those people at the highest level in soccer like have mastered, and it's the same principle, simplicity. They do the simple things all the time, from the first minute of the game to the 90th minute of the game. And one of the interesting things that I learned in my last fight. Oh, wait. Speaking of my last fight.
About that. I seen the highlights. I didn't see the full thing.
Okay, but it was being able to do the simple things from the first round to the 5th round. Yeah. I wasn't able to do that. I wasn't able to keep my structure the entire time. And again, these are all things that come from experience.
Bro, you're so new to the game, bro.
That was my
training, but this is what, your second fight?
Yeah, pretty much.
Sparring is different. You know
totally,
what I mean? Sparring is very different from when them lights come on and it's like, yo, like we got smaller gloves, like it's different.
So for me, it was like taking the shin guards off for the first time and having to go over that mental battle. Yeah. And I literally, it's like from a third person point of view, I'm watching myself like through the fight, and which like sounds terrible to say, but sometimes you could kind of like remove yourself from the fight while you're fighting, and there's little moments when you're breathing, when both of you are like trying to figure out the distance, and you're like, all right, like I need to do this better, or something is not working. That's
ahead of if you're feeling that right now, you're already ahead of the game,
right? And then again, I went back and I looked at it, and I realized, I'm like, okay, this is the difference. What a great experience to realize that. And even in this game, the simple things is what wins you. Just the fight. If you could do that for 5 rounds, and man. So to bring me back, I've done 2 sessions with you, right? And remember before my first fight, you had told me if I landed a combo, we were talked about that one combo, right? Yeah. And I remember I didn't get to land that combo in my first fight, and I remember I texted you after. I'm like, oh damn, I couldn't get it, but we got the victory. You know, I ended up knocking the kid out in the first round. And then this fight, we didn't get to train before this, and I think that's something I actually want to do. Like before all my fights, the week of the fight week, I definitely want to do a couple sessions with you, because just those 1-2 sessions that you did with me, dude, my boxing got so much better. Love that, just the little small details you helped me fix was just like awesome, and I'm still learning. Anyways, but I went back and after my recent fight, I was looking at it and I landed the exact same combination, bro. Like, yo, that made me proud. Like, I was like, okay, so something is working. It made me realize something is working. Like, it's clicking. It might not feel like, fast progression, but just from that, like seeing me come inside, I hit him with the jab, body hook, up top. Man, catch that. Bomb. Right. So yeah, man. I just wanted to say thank you for that.
Of course, brother. Of course. It's like I said, bro. Like I give you your flowers, man. And for so many aspects, what you're doing with this, right? There's so many people now, like out in Oklahoma. I met Tiafimo, and he was telling me like, yo, like, get into your social media. And like, I was telling you, okay, I'm like, that's not the time for you to like really pop your shit. Like, oh, I know what I'm doing with the social media. Like, check my page. It was more just like, taking in. You feel me? This is a world champion. You know what I mean? This is someone that if it came down to like, right, like that conversation, like, would you take the 150 mil or a dinner with Jay-Z? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm taking the 150 mil.
I'm taking the 150 mil.
But if I could just get a couple gems from somebody like that, bro, then I'm better off for it.
Yeah.
But having him be like, yo, listen, the social media is something that even as a world champion, I wish I was doing sooner. You know what I mean? Or as a young fighter, like get into that stuff now. It's just like, bro, God's plan. You know what I'm saying? So you've been doing that. You've been training religiously, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I watch your stuff, bro. Like, and it's so dope seeing you not just train, but have a plan behind your training is where I feel like a lot of fighters are missing. You know what I mean? Yes, bro, you can be a great fighter. You can be, you know what I'm saying, top in the world. But if you don't have a plan with this stuff, bro, you're going to run into that wall where it's like, okay, what's next? You know what I mean? Like, I'm 27. I got into mixed martial arts about 5 years ago. I feel like I just missed that mark of like competition. You know what I mean? Like I'm fighting like elite fighters now, and that just means in USA boxing, like you're fighting people with 10 plus fights. Because I had MMA and kickboxing fights, they put me in elite. But to the point, I give you your flowers and just knowing what you want to do and the things that you don't know too much about, right? You're going and you're discovering how deep you can go with it. So just with that. But what you are being able to adapt is because of that plan. Right, that you landing that combo is not just okay, it clicked. It's because you're intentional with your training. You know what I mean? And I tell you, like, anytime we train, like, what exactly do you want to work on?
You do say that, you know, every time.
It's not like,
and I tell you, I come up with 100 questions.
Yeah, bro. And that's good. You feel me? And not to say that if you didn't, like, we wouldn't find some things to work on. But you have a plan, and fighters that have a plan, that come to me with have a plan, I'm so much better able to train because, bro, I'm a coach. You feel me? And I'm a boxing coach, and I feel like the biggest difference between boxing and any other mixed martial art is just like the attention to striking. Obviously, you have martial art that you have to worry about the wrestling, you have to worry about the kicking, you have to worry about elbows, you know what I'm saying, knees and stuff like that. Boxing is really just like your footwork, and your hands, right? So when you come to me for a boxing session, bro, I can break down 100 different things, right, that we can do better on, but it's within an hour.
Yeah.
But just your kudos to you, man. Like I appreciate you just being a fighter that's intentional.
Thank you.
Of course.
What was your main challenge transitioning from mixed martial arts to boxing? Like, well, actually, no. The question that I deeply wanted to ask, right? Because you say you're 5 years into this game, and you've met probably kind of a lot of high-profile guys in this game. Did you ever have like a stardom moment? Like, because I feel like I'm a fan, like, and some people might be scared to admit that, but I'm not, because like 2 years ago, I never even thought I could be in this space and have these conversations with like, you know, somebody like you. So I make that very vocal, how like I'm a fan. I look up to what you do, and even over the weekend when I was I was watching like a 16-year-old what's his name? Champlain, the Godzilla at CHQ. He's 16, but the way he was fighting, I'm a fan, man, and I look up. So did you ever have those moments, like being so new in the game? And if you did, who were those guys? I want to know.
That's tough, and I don't want to come off of any type of way outside of like, you know, who I am and who I want this to be taken as. But I've never looked up to anybody, bro. You know what I'm saying? And I say that with the most respect to people that put in the work to be world champions, to be high level athletes, right? It's nothing towards them. I was in the car with my boy Richard Rivera, right? He's fighting Ben Whitaker, June 27th.
Popeyes.
Popeye, yeah. So he it's crazy that we just having this conversation this morning. And long story short, we got to the gist of like, I've never looked up to anybody. And it's only because like I don't want a bar, right? If I accomplish what that man is looking for, or what they've achieved, right? Have I like achieve what my hero achieved, you know what I'm saying? But I think even at a young age, it was more so just like, number one, I'm early. I'm very late to the boxing and mixed martial arts world. So having conversations, right, being at Golden Gloves or whatever, like, oh, did you know that this person's not a third? And like, you know, football back when my knowledge is more around football. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know like the greats,
the old boxers, the history and all that.
I think Muhammad Ali, you know what I mean, what he was going through outside of the ring was as close as it comes to having like an idol or having someone that I looked up to, right? As a revert, I converted to Islam about 3 years ago now, and understanding like, you know, the things that people kind of irresponsibly, like, you know, or what's the word? Ignorantly, you know, look at my religion for is like, you have a responsibility to uphold yourself a certain way, right? Regardless of whatever, but because as a Muslim, you are already kind of looked at, you know what I'm saying, with this like, you know, background. So as far as like, you know, having a role model, Muhammad Ali, and after that, just I appreciate anybody that's putting in work. You know what I'm saying? But that's it.
And lastly, you say that you're very nervous. You have butterflies before every competition. Yeah. What is your mind state as soon as you walk in there? As soon as the ref asks, "Fighter, are you ready?"
Yeah.
What goes through your head?
Alhamdulillah. So alhamdulillah is like all praise to God.
All praise to God,
right?
man.
And then Bismillah is just like in the name of God. Like everything I do after that is for Him. It's for my God. It's who's giving me that breath to be able to perform. Who gave me that breath to be able to prepare for that moment.
We had this conversation one time after the training,
yeah.
And I was saying how I found fighting to be the thing that brought me closest to God, and I feel like it's such a ritual, spiritual thing to do, to fight, and if based on my experience, if your spiritual is not aligned with your physical in this game as well as your mental, you are already losing the game, man. So what can you say about that, and what are some things that you've come to learn being a competitor?
Just like I talked about, like with your intentions as a fighter, you know what I mean? I think that's going to take you far inside and outside of the ring. As a lifelong athlete, I've been an athlete for more years than not in my life, right? And I've competed for more years than not in my life. I know what it's like to lose. And I think having that spiritual and that there's something bigger than me that got me here, it makes it a little bit more okay. You know, I've met people or I've seen people online that really struggle with losing. You know what I mean? Everybody in boxing right now, even in the amateur world, is protecting a zero.
Well, okay, wait. Why is that? I hate that. And how is everybody undefeated?
Yeah.
Who's taking these losses, bro?
It's crazy, bro. It's crazy.
I don't understand. The boxing, this is a question for the boxing community. I look at all the records, everybody's 20, 30, 40 and up. Who is taking these L's?
Yeah. Again, I'm early, you know what I mean? So I ain't trying to get killed speaking for the whole boxing community.
I love the boxing community, by the way.
Yeah, they're dope, man. Bums. You know what I mean? Like bums. It's you gotta understand the business side, right?
Yeah.
So, and I think this happens in the UFC. I think this happens like everywhere in every mixed martial art. Like once you go pro, unfortunately, the O is it gets you into certain rooms, right? So if you go into a pro scene, smaller gloves, right? Bigger venues, cash on the line, it could be overwhelming, right? You have people that literally, they're called journeymen, right? And they literally go get paid to get their ass whooped. And you have this at high level, even in the prize fighting, where you have a guy, right? That's the guy. And then you have a guy that maybe not too many people know about. You know what I mean? And they're expected to lose. And then when they go and shock the world, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, oh, you know what I mean? Or you have close, like just Usyk this past weekend. You know what I mean? Something like that where it's like.
Who do you think won that fight? What do you think?
So I see highlights. I didn't watch the full thing. I think in a fight like that, you got to let that go. You got to let that 10 seconds carry on because you're fighting for a heavyweight champion. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Most prestige title.
But again, like you can go into as many conspiracies as you want of like how much bread that A-side fighter is bringing in and how much it'll cost if he loses, right? So again, it's politics in every level, at amateur level, at the pro level, in every mixed martial art, you know what I'm saying?
In terms of politics, that's one of the things I'm starting to realize about this game. Because again, like I came into this game just very fascinated about all aspects of it. My entire intention was like why I actually started fighting. Yeah. I remember I asked my first week of jiu-jitsu, because I started watching UFC like 2 years prior to that, like, and so really watching. I've always seen fighters, but I've never really was invested in every single fighter, know all the backstories, know all the records. So after I really started learning the game, I started asking myself, like, how do you become a manager? Like, how do fighters get managers? And a manager role is not something that I could learn in school.
Yeah.
What class is going to teach me how to be a fighting manager? And I remember I had that question in my head, and I just kept going around. At the time, I was just going to different gyms because I was traveling, and I was asking around, like, how do you become a manager for fighters? Yeah. And all the same answer came back to, you have to be within the space. You got to be a fighter yourself.
Literally.
So I was like, all right, well, it looks like I'm on. I knew as soon as college ended, this is what I'm gonna pursue. Yeah. And learning the business side of it is like, it's so many weird stuff going on in this space of combat world. For sure. And to the fighters out there, and again, I'm really green into this game, not even 3 fights in, but what I could tell like up and coming fighters to be aware of is that like the people who are running this game sometimes don't really have your best interest in mind, and you have to understand that like you're going in there to put your body and your brain at risk, and it could take a toll on you for the rest of your life. So if these promoters out here on your like 3rd, 4th fight, 2nd fight or whatever is offering you a guy who's like 10, 12 fight experienced and you know, they're promising you all these things, like it sounds good, but like at the end of the day, brother, it's you who's going out there putting your life on the line. So if man, there's a lot of weird, shady stuff, and you know, we could get into more, but I don't want to, you know, bring that up, but for up and coming fighters, like be aware of that. Like you are your own. I mean, you're not your own employee, but technically, like it's your life. Like you are signing up for this, and don't ever feel pressured when people are like wanting to force you to fight or like. I had an opportunity to fight next month, and I can like physically, although I just fought, but mentally, I just fought 4 times within the last 6 months. I just did 4 weight cuts and multiple different weight classes, right? And it's like, yes, I can fight, but if mentally I'm not feeling at my 100%, it doesn't make sense for me to just go and fight, right? But other people will be like, no, I want to stay active, and but brother, you could still train. The whole point is to be better. But yeah, man, those are some other things like I've been seeing early in the game, and especially on like the business side of it too. So
the business side needs to be more understood at the fighter level. And then I think like one thing I really give to this next generation, another conversation me and Richard was just having, Popeye. This is a generation that always asks questions. You know what I mean? Like, how old are you?
I'm 26.
26. All right. So you Haitian, right?
Yeah.
All right. So you in your household, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. If an adult is speaking, there's no if, and, or but. There's no questions being asked.
Culturally, yes.
Okay. Yeah. So same, right? If I didn't understand something, it wasn't that I could ask a question to better understand it. Any question that was asked after being told, right, was disrespect.
Yeah.
Right. So I think. For this generation now, right, everything is a question, right? Which is a little frustrating sometimes, but when you look at it in the aspect of like, yo, like there's so many things that are different from the schooling systems, from parenting that changes because this generation is just so heavy on like needing to understand. Some of it's disrespect, obviously, but I think a lot of it is just them wanting to understand. I don't think that's a problem. I think as fighters, they need to adapt the same thing. You know what I mean? You have to be able to understand why you're fighting somebody 10-0 as a 0-2 fighter. You know what I mean? Like B-sides, most of the time they know their B-side. Yeah. You know what I mean? Whether it's
but to me, it's kind of nuts though. Like, recently in the UFC, there's been like a lot of guys not a lot of guys. There's been a couple cases where fighters are under questions of throwing fights. Like, as a fighter, someone comes up to you and like, throw this fight and I'll triple your purse. I'll triple whatever they're paying. Yeah. Would you take it? Okay, I mean,
of course not. But you know, there's people out there like that. And as a promoter, right, to that promoter conversation, it's your job to find those guys. You know what I mean? It's your job to find those journeymen that are in it just to feed their families. You know what I mean? This game has so many different aspects, and if you try to understand it all, you're gonna lose yourself. You know what I mean? You got to understand your role, and you got to understand a little bit about every person's job. You know what I mean? Your corner, your coach, his job is to keep you safe and help you level up. Your manager is to help you find fights and also keep you safe to an extent where it's like there's gonna be a time if you get to that 5-0, that 10-0, where y'all gotta have that conversation of just like, all right, you fighting well. You know what I mean? I think you're ready for a little challenge, right? And you could look at them and be like, yeah, let's do it. Or now let me fight some more scrub until I get there. You go on Box Rec and you look up the records, right, of these 30-0, 20-0 guys, bro. They're scrubs. The first guy is like 10-2 and 32. You know what I mean? Second guy is 5-10. It's not until you get to like that 8th fight range where it's like, oh, all right, that guy he had an O on his record. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's levels. You know what I mean? But you gotta understand your role and everybody else's role as a fighter.
Being a coach, and I know you can attest to this, but I've realized the different characters that roll through the combat sports world, where it's like you can have. And also, by the way, it is one of the only sports you could learn after childhood or after teenage, like from scratch. Like no other sports are technically willing to teach you. Like you can't find no soccer club at the age of 30 that's gonna teach you how to play soccer. You're not gonna find a basketball league at the age of 40 that's gonna teach you how to hoop.
That's fair, yeah.
Right?
You're not wrong.
So it's I think because the combat sports world is that special, you get so many different types of characters that come through, where you have the CEO of the super big tech company who's never done anything athletic in his life, or you have the ex-prison guy who's
going in there knocking everybody.
who's looking to better his life. You know, he just got out of jail for the last 10 years, and or you have like the school teacher, or you have just the ex-athlete who is just a specimen who just able to pick up the sport so quick. So, what about that that ability to pretty much welcome any type of character? Like, what about that is special? Because I really love that aspect of martial arts in general.
I'll tell you, as a coach, it's not easy. It's definitely not easy, and I think it was right when I first got into it, being able to kind of like shout out to my gym, Level Up Gym, Malcolm. He gave me a platform to not only grow my business, right? He allowed me to keep my name, right? The XB Training, and coach classes where I didn't know how much of my own training I was doing until like years later when I got a professional coach and the things were able to kind of just like roll together. Having different talents and different levels within the same room can be really good or really bad. Right, and it's your job as a coach to be able to kind of like know what time to give who, understand, is this a one-on-one session or is this a class session? But in that class setting where you have so many different levels, your job is to make sure everybody understands that they're on the same path, right? And that path is to get 1% better within that session. If there's one person that feels like, okay, I'm too good for this, they've already gone astray. You know what I mean? They're like we just talked about, like the high level is the basics done right over and over and over again. Steph Curry is going to shoot 1,000 free throws, 1,000 threes before he leaves the gym, right? Yeah. And if he misses one, he starts all over, whatever the case is. And so with fighting, when you have like different levels, you see some of the best fighters are the most humble, right? And that's not because that motherfucker can't knock you out, you know what I'm saying? Or he can't go and toe to toe with different weight classes. It's just like, bro, like he understands that it's work. The answer is always just work. You feel me? When you hit that plateau of like you feel like you're not getting better, maybe you need to rest, maybe you need a different trainer, maybe you need a different room. But having mixed martial arts be one of those spaces where you can have every different background and come together and just make something really, really dope, it's what makes the game. But as a coach, it's hard because now at the level that I'm at, again, just placed third in Golden Gloves, going and teaching that basics is a little harder because you want to give that guy that's a little farther on a little bit more attention, right? But you got to understand this is not a one-on-one. This is why one-on-ones cost so much. You know what I mean?
I'm starting to realize that.
You feel me? Because it's like you can take that aspect and you could take their knowledge, right, and spend all that time. But now the guys that really just came, all you had to do was spend like 15 minutes with them, teaching them that 2 o'clock, get your feet spaced out, narrow your torso, you know what I'm saying? Giving them a little bit more time would have furthered them along. But it's a balance, you know what I mean? And as a coach, you just got to be able to keep that intention, make sure everybody in that class understands that intention. And if there is somebody that's not really getting it, pull them off to the side if you have the time. You know what I mean? But being able to, I think the hardest person is the young boy that feel like he got it figured out. You know what I mean? That's right now like my biggest, because I get frustrated, bro. Like anybody will tell you in my class, I get so frustrated. And it's
Really?
like,
I don't know. I couldn't tell.
bro, it's because like I don't do well with arrogance. I really don't. You know what I'm saying? Like I think it's anybody can attest to understanding like, bro, like if I go and knock 10 dudes out, right, with just the overhand, I ain't throw no jabs, right? It doesn't make me great.
No.
Right? What makes you great is the work you put in. Now, if you throw 10 overhands and knock those 10 people out in 10 seconds, and you're putting all that work, I think that's what makes you great. I think people are so concerned about the end effect and the end result that they lose track of why they're doing it, right? And so when you get kids that are going into boxing gyms or going into mixed martial arts gyms, excited to take their picture with the gloves, take their, have their first spar, oh, coach, can I get in there? And it's just like you missing the point. And I feel like for me, understanding that there is an art in every one of these mixed martial arts, there is a lesson that you will carry far after your competition time is done. It's frustrating, you know what I mean? And I don't have the time to be everybody's father, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't have any kids. I ain't going in there trying to raise this dude, you feel me? It's like, bro, go ahead. You feel like you got it figured out, handle. You know what I'm saying?
It will show later.
That's it.
That's the thing about the sport. It's like nothing can be hidden.
Yeah.
All that is hidden will be exposed.
Facts.
In that fight, like
yeah.
if you didn't train properly, if you skip some rounds, if you didn't do the mental preparation, it all shows. Yeah. And like that's the thing I love about like the purity of this like entire sport. You have to be so open and like with yourself, you know. You got to hold yourself accountable or else you're gonna pay.
I always say, bro, fighting is a mirror. You know what I'm saying? If you that tense, uptight motherfucker outside of the ring, is gonna show in the ring. That's the guy that's only throwing overhands. That's the guy that's gassing out the first 30 seconds of a round because you are who you are, right? And I had somebody comment under my post the other day saying, because I said boxing is about identity, right? And he said, no, boxing is about losing your identity. And I understood what he was saying, but I get a lot of like, like the spam and like, the rage bears or whatever the case is. Whatever. But boxing is the identity with outside and inside of the ring. If you are that uptight person, you're going to be that aggressive fighter, right? But when you start realizing, like maybe that situation didn't require as strong of a reaction as I gave. You know what I'm saying? That's when that boxing or that mixed martial arts really starts to play an effect outside because if you do the same exact thing in the ring, you got somebody that just charges you after the first bell. You know what I mean? Yeah, you could charge back. You know what I mean? It just be a war within the first, 30 seconds. Maybe when somebody go down. Yeah. But what does it look like round 3?
Because that wasn't your plan.
Sloppy. Yeah. Both just like kind of just like carrying on. You know what I'm saying? Barely hanging on. Or you can hold your identity, right? That person that is hitting the bag at the end of practice, right? You just finished your strength training, your conditioning, and now you are sitting there in front of this bag with nothing left, and you're still holding your technique, you're still breathing. That's when that shows, right? That's your identity. So it's really just about carrying yourself how you want to carry yourself in the ring at all times. You know what I mean? It's put that mask on, put that cape on to go out there and be Superman, right? But Clark Kent got to have those same abilities, same attributes. So,
having taken my first loss for a title, I had a lot of people come up to me and was like, "Oh my God, Cameron, are you okay? Like, are you distraught?" Like even my mom, like my family members, they thought I would be crushed. Yeah. But I told them, I'm like, no, like why on earth would I kill myself for a loss in amateurs? Like, and this is my second, third fight. Yeah. To me, it's like I'm here for the journey. And one of the things I realized, and especially like from early on sparring people like you, sparring people like Aaron, sparring like people who were a lot better than me when I sucked, is that you must get your ass whooped many times.
That's the best coaching.
You must get your ass whooped. There's no way around it. Yeah. So if you're gonna take some losses, take them on the chin and analyze where you went wrong, analyze what you could improve on, and like look to be better. But killing yourself for a loss in this game is very counterintuitive, and I don't see it helping any way, shape, or form. So.
Yeah, no, definitely not. It's crazy because it's like Does your mom like watch mixed martial arts?
No, she hates it.
But that energy around like somebody losing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think is like it's universal now. It's like, bro, like you lost, like that's, you feel me? Instead of like
people are more distraught than you sometimes.
Yeah, man, and it's annoying. It's annoying sometimes. It's like,
Yeah.
bro, like, I don't even want to think about it no more. Chill, bro. Like dap me up and keep it pushing. But I feel like again, it's the day and age we live in, right? Where loss is more looked at as a loss than a lesson.
Yeah.
And you know, I think it's important to be in those rooms, right? Where I don't want to say like, you know, you want to be in losing rooms, but it's talked about. You know what I'm saying? If you're going into a room, a spar room, right, and somebody got put down, and then you hear a bunch of ooh ahs, everybody stopping, you're probably in the wrong room. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I think the rooms that I've been in, I think the first time I really experienced like a crazy spar room was with Aaron, up at Philippe's Muay Thai spot in New York. And it was just chaos. It was a controlled chaos that really just like anything could happen. Like the punches and kicks and elbows, they were just flying. Like anybody could have got put down at any moment. You know what I mean? But it was so controlled, and every time that bell went off, all right, that next person. You know what I'm saying? Losing, I think it has a lot to do with the room that you're in, right? But as a fighter, that's a part of the game too. You know what I mean? Being able to answer those questions with your head high, like, yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? It was tough. You feel me? But it's back to work.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna be there forever. Like imagine getting to that world champion spot, right? And where you have millions of people on your page, like, damn, I knew this was gonna happen, I knew you was trash. If you can handle it now, think about then, bro. You're gonna want to lose your phone. You feel me? Man. So it's a part of it.
They texting your girlfriend, bro. They on your family page. No, bro.
Texting my girl.
Fighter fans are nuts.
Yeah.
Fighter fans are nuts. And again, that was also another reason why I even joined this game, because I was watching everybody talking from the outside, as in like it's easy. These guys are doing the hard, like to me, the hardest thing in the world. Yeah. Like there was nothing else that I saw me doing that was that challenging. Well, granted, there's like the military, you know, we're not talking about that, but in terms of like, no, I'm saying like what compares to the atmospheric pressure that you go through, right? It's like you're pretty much going to die. Like you're going in there trying to basically kill another man. Like that's the way I see it. Like especially in MMA, you know, boxing is much more gentleman, much more technique, crispy, but like in MMA is actual full of savages. Like these guys.
That's an interesting take.
No, because from the outside looking in, I've always seen boxing as like a pretty boy sport, where like MMA was just like nothing but savages who were just messed up in the head, that they're willing to do a lot of crazy things to you. Where boxers, you know, they'll find your punches, but a guy in MMA could rip your ankle and tear your knee where you can't walk for the rest of your life. Okay. Like, you know what I mean? Where they could break an arm and you'll never be able to throw that jab the same way again.
You think an assassin is more, or you think a Viking is more dangerous than an assassin? A Viking gonna do whatever. A Viking gonna bite you.
A Viking will bite you, and I don't think a Viking is more what was dangerous. It you said dangerous than an assassin, because an assassin is really good at what they do.
Precise.
But what I really love is that the Viking is much more free than the assassin.
Free in what meaning?
And free in like being able to use like anything at any means. Like you said, he could just bite you. I don't have to worry about like good technique and things like that. And that's what drew me to MMA more than boxing. Was the fact that like there is skill behind that savagery. And like you were saying, it's not just the boxing that you have to worry about in MMA, right? There's 5 different other arts, man. And you're trying to juggle all of those at the same time. It's very hard to be proficient in all of those. Yes. And that's where, to me, the difference in like why I love MMA so much is just because there is just, I don't know, that freedom aspect. Like,
I think I understand what you're saying, right? I understand that, you know, being able to kind of just like use whatever's in front of you, like, you know, at your access is like
my elbows, my knees, everything, my takedowns.
But like you said, you're juggling all of these things, right? And I think why boxing is a lot more, not even just dangerous, but it's something that like I think of a better word, but like you have this man that is trained in just his hands, right, to dominate.
Yeah.
Like, and I get what you're saying. Like, you have all these things at access, but if I just train this one thing really well, not only am I just as dangerous, I'm a lot more controlled. When you get someone, right, that can tear you apart with just his movement, right, and you're like, you're trying to kick, you're trying to like, feint or jab, whatever the case is, you have Ilia Toporia's and you have the rest of the UFC.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Where it's like people can't understand, how is he walking through everybody, bro? Like
the boxing
just
pressure, the footwork, the traps.
The footwork, and it's just like the tempo around a boxer, bro, is really like, I always tell my MMA guys, bro, get to a boxing gym. Get to a boxing gym. Keep doing your MMA. You know what I'm saying? Keep doing your kickboxing, your Muay Thai, everything. But get in front of a boxing coach and you are going to see the separation.
Biggest thing from my last fight. And that's the reason why I don't want to just hop back into this. I need to tighten up the boxing. Once I tighten up the boxing, I just know I'm just going to be such a much more different, like dangerous fighter. Right. I know I have the attributes to, to release the techniques at speed, but I don't have, what I don't have is I don't have the structure. I don't have the timing, and I don't have the different tier of setups. When you, and again, I'm just trying to like visually learning this game. Like the guys at the high level, the Ilia Toporias, they're setting you up from either the way that they're walking, from the way that they're feinting, from the first punch that they throw. They might like for. I've been obsessed with Topuria lately, bro, because I've been wondering, how does he land his cross so much? He lands his cross every time, and like I'm trying to in practice, I'm like, why can I not land that as much as he is? But like the more I've watched like 4 of his fights in like .25 speed, so I'm watching everything from the way he walks down, from the way he's in between his tracking sequence, like the dead space in between us, right? When we're figuring out the angles, how is he moving? What is he doing with his body? How is he setting things up? And like, there's so many levels that I need to learn. Like, I need to train.
Bro, boxing has so much more to do with like you said, like the timing and your feet. It's not just about me training my hands. It's about me understanding what I'm looking for. Like,
how can you close someone down footwork wise while keeping yourself away from them
and composed?
In boxing, you guys are just masters at that, because you don't have to worry about the kicks so much, and like, and you don't have to worry about all that. That's what it is.
I did a kickboxing fight, and this was like, what was this, last year? And the dude, he tried to take out my legs. You know what I'm saying? He was a bigger guy. You feel me? This is much bigger than I was used to fighting. But I think I really I believe in much more of the composure, right? A street brawl, bro, first of all, I'm wrestling. You know what I'm saying? If I don't have any gloves on, like I might fake an overhand and we're going straight to the ground. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not boxing in a street fight.
That's whoa. That is, that's very counterintuitive. The boxers are not gonna agree with that, bro.
Ask Terrence Crawford if he's boxing or if he's wrestling. If you wrestle as a boxer, you know what I mean? Again, because we're talking about sports and we're talking about
life
survival.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not boxing you because, number one, it's a 50-50. You feel me? If I'm fading, like, using my jab, I got good distance. But if you rush me and land one big, then it's over. You feel me? Sometimes it's a lot less likely to happen in boxing or mixed martial arts because of the gloves and the padding and stuff like that. But boxing, bro, like, just that timing and just that attention to everything outside of just like working your knees, working your takedowns, working your get-ups, your kicks. You cannot, at this point, you know what I'm saying, how late to the game we both are, get that good, in my opinion. You know what I mean? I think you could train every single day, you know what I'm saying, just all those different martial arts. And I think you could get to a point of being very, very good. But I think if you kind of break those things down a little bit more,
you're nowhere near as proficient.
Go to a Muay Thai gym, right? And just train elbows and just train, like, you know what I'm saying, knees. Go to a boxing gym and just train your distance awareness in your hands. Go to a wrestling practice, right? And just train your takedowns. I think that's a lot more efficient than expecting this one coach
to teach you
the full
all.
thing. Even that coach had a specialty. You know what I'm saying? He was really good at his takedowns. He was really good at his hands. You know what I mean?
And,
but mixed martial artists, like we gotta keep it a buck, man. Like that whole conversation of an MMA guy versus a boxer, matchups makes fights. That's number one, right? But I'm taking a guy that is proficient and a master at his craft. You cannot be a master at your craft. I don't want to say not as an MMA or a mixed martial artist, but I'd rather the master at one, right, than somewhat of a master at all of them. Like, who would you say is a master mixed martial artist?
A massive, like right now, definitely Taporia. Taporia has amazing ground game, and it's just that
you don't get to see it.
No, but his first 8 fights he won by submission.
Oh, word.
People don't know that.
Okay.
It's only later on in his career he started knocking people out. He said the same thing. He was just like, I realized the wrestling took too much energy. If I could just stay composed and figure out a way to break them down mentally, like I could finish the fight with my hands, and it's much faster.
That's a fact.
So yeah, one of the things I'm glad that you said that, but I'm starting to see that, and that's why I love competing, because every single time I fight, I learn something new, and I start to think differently, because every camp is not the same. Every fight, you won't be the same either. That's one of the things I'm starting to realize, and like, that's why I look up to these guys at the highest level who's been doing this for 10, 20 plus years, because every fight won't be the same. You won't be the same fighter.
Right.
Every camp won't go the same. And also, just life be lifing, bro.
That's a fact.
And for those guys to continuously do it at the highest level, it's like, I want to get to that. I want to get to that.
God willing, you will, brother.
Yeah. But before we wrap things up, anything you want to say? And also, please shout out your pages, your Instagrams, or I don't know if you have websites, or your gym as well.
Yeah.
What could it find you?
Definitely shout out my gym and my coach, Level Up Gym Stratford. Coach Eric. That's been my boy. We met when I first got in to like mixed martial arts and boxing, right? He's a boxing gym over in Bridgeport, and then we met like later on. The timing just didn't work. We didn't have the time, but we met later on. He's been a professional coach for the last 15 years. Right now we're getting prepared for Ben Whitaker, my boy Rich Rivera. He's getting ready to fight him June 27th.
Where is that card, by the way?
The Barclays.
Barclays is in where? New York. Okay.
Yeah. So
that's tough.
It's gonna be dope.
That's so tough.
It's gonna be dope, and it's just being around these rooms, bro. Like it's everybody, because I placed third in Golden Gloves, right? Everybody's asking me like, oh, like you're gonna be back next year. This is your first Golden Gloves. You only really been boxing specifically for the last 3 years, or solely for the last 3 years. Like you'll be straight. I don't even want to adapt that style. You know what I'm saying? The boxing style or the boxing amateur style, right? Is really just like throw more punches than your opponent. It's not really too flashy. It's just like, just do more, be more active.
Yeah.
Right? And I'd rather just adopt like that professional, like calm, use your jab, like move your head, like them look at ring control, you know what I mean? A lot more than just like the volume. But yeah, Coach Eric, he's teaching me the fundamentals at a different level right now. XP training. Tap in, bro. It's such a good room. It's such a good room. You got 2 professionals, my boy Nick and Richard, and then you got me, my boy Chris. We just work, bro. It's a small room, it's an intimate room, and we just get so much from like the intentions in there. You know what I mean? Like I couldn't imagine being in a room with 4 killers. You know what I mean? At this level, you feel me? So that's dope. XP Training is my page across the board: TikTok, Instagram, YouTube.
Killing it, absolutely.
I appreciate
killing
that, brother.
Brother.
You as well, man. Like you talking after camera, like it's dope that you find like enjoyment and stuff outside of just competing.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
I think that's important, and one of the things I realized, a lot of these, like especially in looking at the amateur scenes, a lot of these guys, like you were saying, have no plan. And also some of them are a little bit too invested. I realize you can't be too invested in this game, because there's gonna be times where you're in the sport of breaking bodies, your body will break down. And if your body breaks down and you don't have something to mentally keep you stable, you will go into really, really bad spots. And I'm only speaking from experience, you know? So I've come to learn that there is more to life than just, whatever it is that I'm focusing on at that moment.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, man. Absolutely. It's a pleasure being in this game and meeting young men like you, bro, it's a blessing what we do.
Hell
you know
yeah,
what I
man.
mean? In Islam, we believe that this life is measured in breaths, right? So it's not how many years you got, how many days you got, how many months. It's like, bro, every breath is supposed to mean something, right? And as
I like
fighters,
that.
being in that room with people that, like, if you just look around, bro, like, I've been to Iron Lion, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's actually where I started with, like, the MMA stuff. Being in those rooms and just, like, mass spar rooms where it's just like, just take a second the next time you in there, bro. And just like, yo, everybody in here got a story. You know what I mean? Everybody in here, you might have to go home to his wife. You know what I mean? I don't fuck with him like that. Like, that man taking care of 10 kids. Like, you feel me? Like, it's different. So being in there and being like, yo, everybody is in here for a purpose, right? And whatever you contribute is, like, of the highest value. You know what I'm saying? One weak link, bro, can sink a whole ship. You feel me? And just being in these spaces and being able to contribute these spaces, you feel me? Not just like, you know, a spar room, but like a podcast, you know what I'm saying? Talking about my story, talking about my brother, just about like, you know, what he's trying to accomplish and stuff like that, bro. It's dope. It's dope. So hats off to you.
Thank you. Last thing I want to say is just, dude, that is, you literally describe my life every day. Like, I love my life. Yeah. Like, I don't care what happens. I'm doing the things that I love, and I'm in these rooms, and every single day I'm taking that breath, bro. One of the things I always say before my fights, I'll take a second to pray before I walk in the ring, and the first thing that I say is like, thank you, God. Thank you for this moment. Like, whatever ends up happening, it doesn't matter. But what led up to that, all those trainings, all those people that helped me out, like all those trials and tribulations that I went through, and all those times, all those rounds, like I'm thankful for that, and I get to make that walk, man. And
that's big, bro.
I'm blessed, bro. I'm blessed. So thank you so much, X, man. I would love to have you on again, man. This was an amazing pod. And all right, guys, thank you so much. I'll catch you next time. It was dope, man.
That was elite.
Definitely did like an hour.
At least.
Hell yeah.
That was clean, bro.
Yes, sir. Exactly an hour.